There is something terrifying about human beings. Not because we lie, but because we can look directly at something false and still call it truth. We trust appearances. We trust confidence. We trust popularity. We trust what everyone else seems to believe. And the strangest part? The more obvious something looks, the less likely we are to question it. Sherlock Holmes once said, "There is nothing more deceptive than an obvious fact."
At first, it sounds like a quote about solving crimes. But maybe it was never about crime at all. Maybe it was about us. Because some of the most dangerous lies in human history were not hidden in darkness. They were standing in plain sight, accepted, repeated, normalized. And today, most people are still living inside illusions they never chose for themselves. Illusions about success, about happiness, about love, about identity, about what makes a life meaningful. The frightening part is not that these illusions exist. The frightening part is how normal they feel.
The human brain was never designed to seek truth. It was designed to survive. And survival requires shortcuts. So the brain simplifies everything. Confident people must be intelligent. Successful people must be happy. Busy people must be important. Smiling people must be okay. The brain loves obvious conclusions because uncertainty is exhausting. Imagine walking into a room filled with strangers. Within seconds, your brain starts creating stories. Who looks trustworthy? Who looks dangerous? Who looks successful? Who looks weak? And most of the time, those stories are invented from fragments. A face, a voice, a posture, a brand of clothing. We don't see reality. We see interpretations. And once the brain accepts an interpretation, it begins protecting it. That's why people defend beliefs even after seeing evidence against them. Because humans are not rational creatures first. We are emotional creatures that use logic afterward. And perhaps that is why obvious facts are so deceptive. Because once something feels obvious, we stop examining it. Modern society has perfected the art of illusion, especially online. Every day, millions of people perform versions of themselves. Filtered happiness, filtered confidence, filtered success. And slowly, the performance becomes more important than reality. A person can be emotionally destroyed while posting motivational quotes. Someone can feel completely alone while surrounded by followers. Someone can hate their life while convincing everyone else they are winning. But perhaps the greatest illusion of modern life is productivity. People wake up exhausted, overstimulated, emotionally numb. Yet they continue moving because society taught them that being busy means being valuable. So people fill every second with noise, notifications, meetings, content, scrolling, work, entertainment, anything to avoid silence. Because silence forces confrontation, and confrontation leads to dangerous questions. Questions like, am I actually happy? Do I even want this life? Who would I be without constant distraction? But those questions threaten the system. So instead, people keep running, not toward meaning, but away from emptiness. And eventually, they become so accustomed to the illusion that the illusion feels more real than reality itself. But perhaps the most deceptive, obvious fact of all
is the belief that we are thinking for ourselves. Most people inherit their desires. They inherit definitions of success, definitions of beauty, definitions of masculinity, without ever questioning where those ideas came from. A child grows up watching the world. They learn money equals respect, achievement equals worth, being admired equals being loved. And once those ideas are repeated enough times, they stop feeling like opinions. They become reality. That is how invisible prisons are built, not with walls, but with repetition. People spend decades chasing lives they never consciously chose, careers they hate, relationships they outgrew, goals that no longer matter. And when they finally pause long enough to reflect, they discover something terrifying. They were never truly living. They were performing expectations. Sherlock Holmes understood something most people never do. The truth is rarely hidden. It is usually ignored. Because truth is uncomfortable. Truth destroys identities. Truth demands change. And many people would rather protect an illusion than rebuild their lives from the beginning.
The strange thing about illusions is that people often defend them aggressively. Not because they are true, but because they are familiar. A comforting lie can feel safer than an uncertain truth. That is why people stay in toxic relationships, stay in meaningless jobs, stay loyal to broken systems. Because certainty, even painful certainty, feels safer than the unknown. And maybe that explains the modern world perfectly. People are not only afraid of being wrong, they are afraid of what happens after realizing they were wrong. Because awakening changes everything. Once you see the illusion, you cannot fully return to sleep. Maybe wisdom is not learning more facts. Maybe wisdom is learning which facts deserve to be questioned. Because some of the most dangerous lies in existence do not look like lies. They look obvious. They look normal. They look exactly like the life everyone else is living. And perhaps the first step toward freedom is having the courage to pause for a moment and ask, what if the things I never questioned are the things controlling my entire life? If this reflection stayed with you, leave a comment with one obvious truth you no longer believe. And if you enjoy exploring the hidden psychology behind modern life, identity, and human behavior, subscribe to the Mind Echoes. Because sometimes the most important truths are the ones hidden beneath what everyone else accepts.